Hey folks, just got a new camera. I just wanted to show you, this is what my desk looks like right now with, I had to vacuum my bedroom a little bit ago. Our vacuum needs replacing, but yeah, this is all the stuff I had to move up onto my desk. A lot of this is stuff I'm going to be getting rid of. You can see here, this is the pile of books that I plan to read you in the next year or so. But I thought you might enjoy coming with me to clean my desk off. Now, I'm not a Cerberus guy anymore, if you recognize these comics. I used to be when I was a teenager. I promise you I don't subscribe to these politics anymore. I'm just sitting here while I find a way to get rid of them. Move them down to the floor. Shut my door. New bookshelf in my room. Because I had to... Actually, this bookshelf was always here. I just put new stuff on it. And moved the one from the alcove. We're here. It's mostly comic books and stuff on this side of the room. It's a piece of my old bed. So this is what I was reading for book group last time. Let's have that on the floor. I just watched and wrote a review of this on Letterboxd. Same name. If you want to find me on Letterboxd and watch some movie reviews. Was not a fan of the movie. This is also here because it's being gotten rid of. Onto the floor it goes. The Sculptor, I'm on the fence about this one. I enjoyed it when I first read it. I just kind of had to get rid of it to make space. Big Nate. If you don't know Big Nate, you should. This is another one I'm just getting rid of to make space. God, I loved Big Nate so much when I was in elementary school. One of my favorite comics. Onto the floor it goes. This is J. Edgar Hoover biography by Rick Geary. Rick Geary is great. This is another one that I thought was good, but I just needed to make space on my bookshelves. A copy of Melody Time that is not in U.S. region. I also just reviewed this on Letterboxd under the same name, Kent Kentley. There are a couple I watched for Halloween. Curse of Frankenstein, Taste the Blood of Dracula. I like to Taste the Blood of Dracula a lot more than Curse of Frankenstein. But this one I'm also going to probably sell that. All the King's Men. That's an alright movie. I just don't need to own it. You can read my review on Letterboxd, like I said. I thought about reading this one to you on the website, but it's a weird book where it's from about 30 years ago, and it's written by a guy that grew up in the 50s in South Africa, and it's really hard to tell how appropriate of a book it is, and I don't want to read a book where I would have to say racial slurs over and over again, even though it is supposed to be pro-unity. If you're watching this and know the power of one and want to make the case for me reading it, go ahead, but sooner than later, it's probably going to get given to a used bookshop. On the floor with that. That's where I keep my schedule and notes for the podcast that I do, which I don't think I've talked about on here. I do commentary on Star Trek The Next Generation's episode. The name of the podcast is Next Generation's First Generation. And A New Hope in the Park is what kept me busy in August. It was a Star Wars play in the park. And that'll just continue to live there because we're down to stuff that I'm actually using. Reading Nova Classic along with the Fantasticast. And a book that I got because I'm doing that Star Trek The Next Generation show that I have not fallen in love with yet. All right, what else can I take off of here? My dad got me this forever ago. I still haven't read it, and as good as it looks, I got to make room on my bookshelves. So this is probably going to get sent to a used bookstore. Trigger Mortis, an Anthony Horowitz Bond novel. Anthony Horowitz is a lot of fun. Let me know if you... I don't think I'm going to read you this, but if you like Anthony Horowitz and know the name of an Anthony Horowitz book you would like me to read on the channel, I would probably be quite happy to do so. Onto the floor with that. Sailor Twain, another great graphic novel. I really liked this. This is, again, another one I'm getting rid of because of space issues. And, you know, if I ever put an eBay thing together, I will let you guys know if in that way. Like, I got rid of all those Indian in the Cupboard books. If buying books that I read you guys is something that you're interested in doing, let me know and we'll see if that's something we can do. A Conan collection, which I bought, and I just realized I'm not in love with Conan. This was actually bought this new at a half price. It was all wrapped up all nice, still in pretty good shape, but they recolored it from the 60s, and it just looks weird. Sometimes recoloring works, sometimes it doesn't. On Conan, it did not work. Old videos. A lot of these I won at like variety shows and stuff around town. Last Starfighter, great movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to. I have not reviewed that on Letterboxd. Or Angus, which wasn't on DVD for the longest time, but I will be buying fairly soon. Another one. If you haven't seen this, it is such a great movie. And it's based on a story by Chris Crutcher, another author that I would really probably like to read you guys. Again, name a book by him that you'd like to hear me read, and we'll try and get that done. But yeah, to its little pile on the floor. Obviously, that'll be more organized later on. I'm just kind of showing off stuff. Prince of Darkness, which I now have on DVD. Great movie. Still have not reviewed that on Letterboxd yet. It was going to happen in Halloween, and then just other movies got in the way. But it's worth checking out. It's a weird one, but I don't think you'll be sorry you watched it if you give it a try. And look for a review maybe next October on Letterboxd. Old Donald Duck cartoons. When I was growing up in the 90s, these were just great sets. This is the classic Donald and the lump one, Wide Open Spaces. Yeah, that the best one on here is the one with Donald fighting a bump that keeps showing up under his mattress while he's trying to sleep. It's a classic cartoon. But I got to get rid of it. And if you ever watched one of these videos, they had a little ditty that ran through it at the beginning of the cartoons. It will get stuck in your head so quick. All right. Mercerberus. The less said about that, the better. Let's throw that on the pile. Cerberus. Now, if you like Thor comics, this is one of the best collections. This is volume 6 of the Essential Thor. And it's just Thor and Hercules buddying it up and fighting bad guys. So much fun. It's by Jerry Conway. I can't recommend this enough. This one I'm keeping. It's going back on the shelf over here. Big honking JLA omnibus with the Jose Garcia Lopez cover of the Detroit era, which I'm slowly making my way through. Same guy that wrote the Thor wrote that. I wish that was as good as the Thor, but it's not. I'm waiting for Batman to show up and be part of the team. Excuse my feet. And these are all of my Dark Tower hardcovers, which are about to fall. I'm going to try and save that from happening. Again, nothing wrong with these. Peter David, J. Lee art, but I just don't have the space. Sometimes you just have too much stuff and you got to clear out. I held on to these for a long time because it used to be an easy gift for people to give me. More Cerberus. More Cerberus. I took a bunch of picture books out of my dad's house because some of them I want to share with my nephew, some of them I might want to share with you. This is the Gorgeous Noah's Ark by Lisbeth Zwerger. That over there. Crows of Peas Blossom by Aldous Huxley. Kept that because it's illustrated by the amazing Barbara Cooney. Onto the pile it goes. Georgie's Halloween. If you don't know the Georgie books, they're great. Never bothered to learn the author's name, Robert Bright. Maybe next Halloween. I mean, I've got a big pile of Dory books still to read you that are going to be found under all of this mess. The Happy Day with Mark Simon illustrations, also by Ruth Krauss, who is a great old children's book writer. Where is the Bear? A golden book. Another really cool looking Noah's Ark. This one's by author Arthur Giesert. Rooster Groves, Book of American Rhymes and Jingles. Sheep in a Jeep. Beep, beep, Sheep in a Jeep. Nancy Shaw, illustrated by Margot Apple. I might make a video of this with, now that I've got this fancy smanchy phone, these picture book videos might be a little bit easier to watch than they have been. Bert Dow, Deep Water Man, which I already have read you. Look it up. Great book. And one of my favorite illustrators, Wallace Tripp, Sir Toby Jingle's Beastly Journey. And if you're thinking that you want to hear me do this book sooner rather than later, leave me a comment, because I kind of want to do this one. Down to the floor it goes. What's this one? This is, I had to pause in reading this. I've been reading it at work, and I am going to be reading it to you soonish from the Mary Stuart Merlin series. Some Wolverine that I'm going to get to soon. Cool John Bernard on the cover there. Almost to the bottom of the pile. Little Orphan Annie, which I've been reading in bed. Great stuff. Great old comics, and I will get to those in, 5 years, if I'm still doing this and reading you comics. So that was all that was on my desk, and it's now on the floor, and that's what remains on my desk, which is all the stuff I'm actively going through. That big pile is kind of my Marvel reading order. I had a DC reading order before this, and now I'm going through the Marvels. So if you stuck with me in my camera test, thanks much, and I will see you in the next video.